Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Matilda Swift, here with my co-host Samantha Cummings, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our Mastery Through Missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way. This week's topic is hooks, but before that, what are your wins and whinges of the week?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I'll start with a whinge because I feel like I should get this out of the way. I am currently on the worst internet and I don't have my mic cover for my microphone. So if I look/sound awful, apologies. I'm going back to the 90s apparently and the internet's awful. My win, which is kind of related to that, is because I'm not in my own home and I'm not plugged into my own Ethernet cable. I'm currently on holiday in North Yorkshire and Harrogate, and I am spending this week doing a read-through of my novel that's coming out in September before I start my big edit. So I'm just reading my own book this week and making notes and absorbing all of the vibes, and it's been so nice just to get away. I love taking little trips away just to specifically work on a book that feels like I'm stepping into my dream author life. This is what I would be doing if I was already living that life. This is me practicing. And I love it. I'm so happy and just living my best life. It's great. I think that's probably all of my wins and whinges. So yeah, over to you.
I am so unbelievably looking forward to. I've got a writing retreat in a few weeks, and my plan this week. My thing I need to do in the coming week is to plan the book that I'm going to write when I'm there. So it even feels exciting just to plan the book because I know where I'm going to write it and I can picture myself. And it's on a little Greek island, and we have this little house just on the seafront. And there's four of us, four writers, and it's such a good group for really getting work done, but also not feeling stressed. And everyone there is people on writing retreats are always like this. Ones I go with, they're just it's just a group of women who, if they see something that needs doing, they get it done. And it's so relaxing just to have everyone around you kind of all working together, and everyone all being productive and like a little beehive. So I'm looking forward to coming up to this week of planning the book I'm going to write there. And I'm just about to finish the draft one for the book I'm co-writing, which has been really lovely to write, and just lovely to kind of see a different process and try something new. I definitely need to I was going to try and write that along with something else, but actually I just needed to focus on that. And also I had to do book launches and things while I was doing it. So it's just not possible to add something else in. But I think now I'm going to go through the drafting of that, the redrafting. I will also be writing in the book. So I'll try and do two things at once then, see how that goes. So yeah, lots of sort of wins, but also lots of hard work at the moment. My wins are just that everything I'm doing, it's one of those times when everything is 10 extra steps it needs to be. So my website hosting renewed and they charged me twice, and I've had lots of messages being oh, I need to get the money back for this. And they were oh, do you want to cancel your account? I was no, I just want this bit back. And then in one of the many conversations, it was real a thing that I actually pay for, that I even checked when I renewed it, do I really need this? I don't think I use it. She's oh, it's to back up your account. And then when I was trying to get my charge back for my double charge, one person I spoke to was oh, do you want to upgrade that thing? I was why would I upgrade it? I've just confirmed it's right. And he was oh, you can't use it at your website size. I was oh, can you just refund it then? I'm not dealing with this. So it was just everything is 10 steps more. Today I was getting organized and buying some cat food ahead of time and getting sorted. Then my credit card is blocked because last night I bought several promos for my books, obviously American websites, because I've got a book club coming up. I was booking the promo ticket before that, so obviously buying something from several mysterious American websites at the same time in the middle of the night has flagged the fraud team. But it's a bank holiday here, so they're not on the phone. So I'm just having one of those times. It's my current to-do list even when it looks manageable, everything on it takes 10 times longer than it should. So I'm not getting through everything. It feels very frustrating. And just makes me feel a bit defeated, deflated. I don't know. But I am persisting, and soon I will be like having my feet in the sea on a Greek island, being
Oh.
just in literal heaven. So wins outweigh the whinges by a long way. And I've got a book club this week. So big win. Very excited. Cannot wait.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And I'm just so jealous that you're going away and you're going to be actually having summer weather. I'm assuming that the weather's going to be
Yeah.
great. Oh, I mean, at least
I
you
mean,
get to enjoy
the
that.
island is near Santorini, and they do currently have like quite a big threat of a volcano. So news article on that today.
Oh,
They've had a lot of earthquakes recently, and last time our group met was when the pandemic started. Like literally that week we started it. So sorry guys. If the world ends, like I've said, it's our fault, and
are you guys
we'll be fine.
secretly like the horsemen of the apocalypse?
Yeah, but not on purpose.
Yeah, because the universe like mostly keeps you apart, but every time you come together, something
Yeah,
bad happens.
yeah.
Okay,
So if the
well,
world does
okay.
end in a couple of weeks, you know whose fault it is.
Yes, okay, that's fine. Right, okay, so the topic of the week this week is that we're talking about hooks. What do we mean by that?
Good question that I wrote myself. So I felt slightly annoyed that I had to answer the question this week, but actually it's a good thing because I think the standard definition of hooks is kind of one thing, but I want to just say that I'm kind of thinking a bit more broadly. So I think often when we think about hooks, we think about it maybe in two main ways. So like hook in your book. So what is the hook? And if often in cozy mysteries, people talk about the hook as in like what's the craft that the sleuth does, or like what's the kind of cute, unique thing about the village they live in, which I would say is not super hooky. I don't know that. I'm not sure that defined like that fits quite in what the hook is, but people often use it for that. And then the other way of a hook is like a social media hook, which is like the thing that absolutely like grabs someone. They're like, you must read this thing. So it's like, you know, I don't want to think of one right now because it's going to be a really cliche one, but like, you know, 5 secrets, 1 victim, 17 killers, like that sort of like hook that you get on the front of a thriller. And I think that doesn't really feel genre appropriate, so cozy. So like to me, hook feels like literally you're hooking someone like they're a fish and you're dragging them towards you in quite a violent way. And I just feel like I never quite get how that matches with like different genres. I can see it in something like a thriller where the whole concept of the book is like a gut churning anxiety to find out. I can see it in a romance where it's like there is a very clear like almost like I think of it like high concept, right? Like a high concept movie. Like there's just this one thing that you can articulate. Like, you know, he's a bad guy, but she's the devil. So, or she, you know, something like, oh, what a juxtaposition. And I just think in a genre where it's not urgent, how like I don't think I think about hooks in the right way. So, how do you think about hooks?
Similarly, I think, yeah, the hook is the thing that is the one like part of something, the one part of the story. So if we're talking about books, which obviously we should be, but I'm going to go wider. So like the one part of the book where when you reach it, you are just instantly grabbed by the individuality, like the uniqueness of that you've not seen in another book. Which, and like you said, like you can come up with so many for such big genres because they're so cliche. If you were doing like a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, you would be like, she's the cursed one. Just like that, like it's almost kind of like
When you say uniqueness, I'm like, that isn't unique, right? Like fairy tales,
it's
they're not unique. So
yes,
like,
yeah,
what do we mean by unique when we say hooks? We often do use like, oh, it feels like it's gonna be something that's like absolutely pinnacle of human existence. Like you must read this right now. There's an urgency about hooks. But like I think that's not really what hooks are. It's maybe like what they've got to in our minds. But why do
yes,
you think of them as being like a unique thing?
it's like it's I guess like it's not like it's not really uniqueness per se. It's what general interest are you grabbing people with? Because I think like uniqueness, yeah, I'm just like completely backtracking on my own thing. It's like the uniqueness to your story. So it's the thing that makes your story like your story. But the hook has to be an instantly recognizable interest for somebody. It's because it has to be the thing that dings their radar of knowing that that's what they like. So it's a little bit, maybe a little bit like butter. It's like a little bit like that kind of like juicy morsel that makes you think, oh, that might be the best thing I've ever tasted, or like that looks like it would be so good. I need it right now. Like it's something that makes it like gives you like an urgency to purchase, maybe.
Yeah, I think urgency to purchase is a good way to think about it, because I think there's a sense of urgency. And often when I look at like hooks in other genres, there is the feeling of like the urgency of someone's going to die, which I always feel like, oh, then, someone is going to die in a crazy mystery, but that's not the urgent thing. And also like often there's a sense of, oh, the urgency of the sleuth has to figure out the solution or they're in trouble. That's not really the urgency either. Or at least like, I think the urgency to purchase is kind of where we want to be thinking. So I gave some bad examples of like taglines earlier, but I in fact have found some recently, because I was looking into could you figure out a tagline. I think a tagline is like a form of a hook. I was like, could you think of a tagline for cozy mysteries? So I looked at other genres of taglines, just to get a sense of like kind of where my mind initially goes when I think about hooks. So here are some others. I don't know what books they're for. They're just for like, I found a really good Pinterest page of like good book hooks, and so here's some that stood out for me. 1 room, 5 suspects, 3 hours to find a killer. So putting something on a clock. Oh, I'm so excited by that. Like I can tell that's going to be
I
like
love a ticking
tickling a
clock.
certain itch. Yeah. But also there's the mystery kind of ticking clock. There's like, you think you know her, think again, which is just like, that's almost nothing, right? There's just a sense of there's going to be something, a twist here. And then so these are all from real books. Then one was like, family is duty, magic is power, honor is everything. And like, why does that create an urgency to purchase? There's no mystery there. There's no ticking clock, but there's a sense of like magnitude. So I think what I need to figure out is like, what is the ticking clock belongs in thriller, like conflict, or like emotional conflict belongs in romance. That magnitude sense belongs in like fantasy. And I think I just don't have the thing for cozy mystery. And I worked with AI a bit to try and get some put together. And they felt a bit thrillery. I think that was the issue. It did come up with one really good one that is just because it's hilarious.
Okay.
It was Little Quillington, which is the name of the village that I'm writing about for new series. Little Quillington, big trouble. I was like, I sort of love it, but like you have to be so in the book to know that already. I was like, oh, I love it. But it had things like a sweet village, a bitter crime, which is like kind of, I see it, like it ties in culinary cozy, but it doesn't feel like to me it ties in with the emotional sense of the genre.
And I think that the word bitter isn't really like, it's not a cozy word. It's not a cozy mystery word. I think bitter seems too like, it's kind of too soft. You'd want it to be
culinary. That's where I've gone to.
It's culinary, but it's not quite like. You'd want something that's more like poisonous sounding. Something that's like way more dramatic.
But then that's not the feeling you get from a cozy. So
no.
one that I saw recently, so I'd worked on a few and I got one that I kind of like, but it wasn't quite working. And then I saw a similar one that is much better in, so there's a cozy author called Mona Marple, who she has got a book series coming out. There's in fact set quite near me. It's on the Yorkshire coast, which weirdly, I have got a Yorkshire coast mystery that I need rewriting. And I was just talking to another author who's also got a Yorkshire coast mystery, so maybe it's a zeitgeist thing. The Yorkshire coast is unbelievably beautiful. Like you couldn't believe it. Like the places along there are just fantastic. It's so ideal for cozy mystery because it's got this real faded glory. It used to be like where the rich and famous would go to take the waters, and it was just phenomenally wealthy, huge hotels. Like when you see those like adaptations of Poirot, where he goes to like the enormous seafront hotels. Those are down south, but there's very similar ones up north. Anyway, so just fantastic for cozy mysteries, and should be more there. And this one, she's got a really good tagline. He came home to heal. Then he found another body. And like, oh, hello. And like there's a sense of home in there, healing. So you got that like feeling, but then he found another body, which has got a bit of tension, but not like someone's going to stab him in the back. It's not crazy thrillery. So that I like. And so I think I want to keep looking at taglines for different genres. I think I'm narrowing down too quickly to my own. And I will look at taglines for different genres, how they represent the emotional requirements of a genre and how you build that.
Yeah, so like the kind of initial status quo meets the immediate like rug pull that ruins it. Yeah, it is difficult because cozy mystery is, you've talked about this before, how you find cozy mystery very difficult to find, like when we're talking about writing social media copy or and stuff, like how it's difficult to find the right words to convey like the excitement, like the exciting aspect, like the thing that, like the hooks, like the things that actually do draw people in, because thrillers are so easy, like like it's like so easy to do a thriller, it's like so cliche, but
yeah, and in fact one of my best
like you don't
ads
want
is
to,
just like a list of
you don't want to
quirky
rely
things.
on
So it's like a parade of like toddlers dressed as bees and a singing cheesemonger. So it's like just the quirky things in the village, and then something like bad happening. And I think that's part of the way there, but I think it's not quite what I need. Like I think there's something I'm missing that could be further in, or could kind of capture something more. What I've been trying to do is watch things like videos, like adverts for spas and perfume, and like things that they only rely on emotion and like a feeling. You're trying to give people a feeling of relaxation, and you're trying to convey like what you'll get out of it. And obviously, spas and perfume, they both have a sensory aspect to them, and adverts will always really play up on that sense and how it's going to give you a feeling. Like, especially spa ones, like there's a real sense that you can see someone being massaged or the aroma in the air. And it's like, how do you capture that for a book? And I don't think it's something I need to fix, like, and solve right away. But I think if I understood that, I would understand lots more things.
Yeah, I had a similar thing, like when I talked at the start of this about saying like I was going to go wider. What I've been really noticing or thinking about for the last like couple of days is hooks in the real world that pull you in, that you don't really notice is happening, like very underhanded ones. One of the ones that I really realized today, I was watching, like, we're staying in an apartment that's looking over like a main street, and I love people watching. And I watched so many people walk up to a restaurant with one of those menu boards outside, and they were stood there clearly like trying to think, do we want to go in or not? And I thought, that menu is the hook. And what makes people go into a restaurant? Because restaurants, they're also the same food. It was just a cafe. It wasn't even like a themed restaurant. It wasn't like an Italian or a Chinese restaurant. It was just a cafe selling breakfast food. What makes people want to go into that particular cafe for stuff? What is it about the menu that's putting people off? Because people were walking away. And I was thinking, like, they've obviously not got the right hook, because it's just food. We all eat food. How are they selling their food? I'm going to go and look at the menu tomorrow when I go out for a little stroll, because I want to see what they've put on this menu that is making people turn away, and like try and use that as a way to start thinking about hooks in the real world, to start myself thinking about like what it actually means to, I'm going to say, this is going to sound terrible, to emotionally manipulate people into wanting what you've got.
I was listening to a good podcast, a marketing podcast the other day, that's like, manipulation, it's only manipulation if you're doing it for bad ends. You're like, I think if you're doing it to like give them something that you think will give them what they want, that is a good thing. So if you're trying to emotionally manipulate someone into like paying money for horrible food, that's bad. If you're trying to emotionally guide people into a food experience they will really enjoy, great. One thing I think I struggle with hooks is that, like, with restaurants, I am never someone who's going to look at the menu and make a decision based on that, because like food is food, and like the words on the page are not going to represent it at all. It's just a way someone's chosen to describe it, and like I know you can trick people with words, and also I will find something that I will enjoy. It's sort of irrelevant. Like, I'm going because I have food in my house, so unless I've chosen, like, unless I'm specifically in the mood for like, oh, I really want to go for Chinese food, but I'm not going to get to the menu at that stage, because I can see from the outside of the restaurant if it's a Chinese restaurant or not. And I just, like, I'm looking inside. I want to see people's plates. I want to see like how busy it is. I want to see the service. Do the waiters look like they're going to spit in your food? That's what I care about. And I might glance at the menu to get a sense of the price, but like I never understand why people are looking at menus. What are they looking at?
Okay, well, personally, I'm looking to see if they've got vegan options. So that is a specific requirement that I need.
So I'd eat meat, and like a lot of places, like I live somewhere where it's lots of vegetarian options. I just assume that like there'll be something. Like it might not be
Ooh.
great, but like there'll be something.
Yeah.
And I'll just have to deal with that.
Yeah. I'm a very mood eater. And
Mm,
see, I'm the person that needs to be hooked by a menu on the outside of a restaurant because I need to look at like what vegan options there are and then think like, do I feel like can I see myself eating that? Have they described it in a way that makes me think, yeah, today I will have avocado on toast. But some days I look at it and I'm like, I don't want avocado on toast.
when do you not want avocado on toast?
Because
Mm,
because whatever they've got on the menu hasn't sold it to me. I think if the rest of the menu, this is like delving into probably stuff that doesn't relate, but if the rest of the menu doesn't sound good, even the non-vegan stuff, I'm like, oh, if the other stuff doesn't sound good, the thing that
mm,
I like might also not be great. So even though it's avocado on toast, if the other stuff on the menu that I wouldn't even eat sounds a bit mediocre, is the avocado going to be mediocre? So I am the person that needs to look at the menu and like be emotionally manipulated into going in.
mm. I have been fooled before into having like just like white bread with like a slice of avocado, and I was like, why? Why have you done this to me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the menu can just lie. Uh, yeah, so I think that is interesting. Just thinking about like what hooks you. So and looking at it in different contexts, like what hooks you. So I'm always trying to think about, when I see like a movie trailer,
Mm-hmm.
what in it is the point? And it's not necessarily thinking about a trailer as a whole. It's like thinking, what is the point where I thought, yes, that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what is that thing. So one thing I did recently that's not connected to this was I really wanted to figure out why some books are really sticky in cozy mystery, and you get authors who they're big authors, but their books don't really stick, and the books seem like they're the same as other books, they just don't stick. And some books you think, like, that looks really generic and not that interesting. And even books that I've read, that's like, it to me, I know it's materially not any different to other books as a person who reads as a writer, but it's just really sticky. And you could do things like look at, are they advertising somewhere? Do I come across the adverts on Amazon? Do I can look at the Facebook ads library? Nothing. So you're like, I know it's something intrinsic in the book itself. I'm pretty sure it's not the marketing. So I took a few of those books and I put the blurbs into Notebook LM, and I was asking them questions. I think I've talked about this on a previous podcast, but I was asking them some questions, and it was really useful and just trying to delve deep into like what aspects of them were different to other cozies. And then I said, oh, can you make me 3 other example blurbs that would have similar sticking power? And the blurbs were, and I specifically asked for it in different like kind of subgenres of cozy, just to get a sense of like how are they being described. And the one that really absolutely I thought, oh, I'd love to read that. I really paid attention to that one, like, and the line that did it, I had that feeling of like a line when you lean forward and think, oh yeah, that.
Mm-hmm.
And I paid attention to that. And I think for me it was a line specifically about something book related. So it was a bookish cozy mystery, and it was like an impossibility. It was like a locked room type mystery. Um, and that sounded great, and like I instantly leaned forwards. And I think that's one thing I could do, is just write books that to lend themselves more to that sort of hook. Like I always have accidental murders, or not always, but like often have like accidental murders. Like people had some sort of beef, but a fight escalated and someone gets murdered, rather than like because it's hard in a small village to have like psychopathic murderers plotting out killings for a long time. At least have more than 1 or 2 of those. So it was quite telling that this book had a very specific and like calculated sort of hook to be like, oh yes, that. And there were a couple other points in that same blurb that really got me, that were about kind of specific bookish mysteries, like a certain clue that's like, oh, I know that poem or that story. I wonder if my knowledge of that will play into the mystery. So paying attention to that really helped. But then I think maybe that's just me. Maybe other people wouldn't find that hooky, and I just don't have any confidence that like my own tastes reflect other people's. I don't really quite know how to get to that stage. Just like I don't
Mm-hmm.
choose food based on menus. Like I don't choose
You
restaurants based on menus, but many people do.
you've just given me like an idea for a new TikTok account, which is
Mm-hmm.
just a TikTok account that, and I just do hooks, like just like 1 or 2 line hooks for stories and
Mm-hmm.
see which ones work, and they don't have to be real books. Literally just like, what can I come up with just to
Yeah.
practice making hooks and seeing what works.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds fun. That's like,
Or even trying to write hooks for real books. So it could just be books in your
Yes.
genre that you write
Yeah.
hooks for, that you're like, it's just a reader account almost.
Me and my ghost boyfriend have a
Mhm.
game that we play where we like to come up with movie taglines. So there's like, actually one of our favorite ones is very apt to this. So one of my favorite movie taglines is for I Know What You Did Last Summer. The
Mhm.
tagline is "Get
So
hooked."
even the title is great. Like, that's a hook. Wait, is the tagline "Get hooked"? Is that the real tagline?
Because, yeah, that's the real tagline. Get hooked. It's because it's so...
Which gives away a lot of the plot.
It gives away so much, and so we have this game where we like to kind of guess what film has which tagline, but we also like to come up with taglines for films, and it's like a fun way to like distill a story into a really like quotable, silly line.
Mhm.
And I feel like if I did like a social media account about that, that would really help me figure it out.
But for example, if you were thinking about it for Poirot, right? Like the concept of Poirot as a TV show, what's the tagline for that? Like, he's very fussy.
I don't like. I'm going to
Wrong
be honest.
food
Like,
for every mood is why I don't work in advertising.
the only thing I really know about Poirot is that like his mustache, and he's like very cute. But my sister's ex-husband, amicably split, used to say,
I've mentioned his ex-husband before. There's a
okay,
lot of like,
this
is backstory.
This has got a lot of backstory that I'm going to drip feed into this podcast. My narrative is ever expanding. He used to say Hercule Poirot, and that's it. That's all I know. That's my connection. So that's, to me, that's the tagline. That's the hook. It's just the way you say his name with an accent.
You won't be put in charge of advertising that series.
No, I know.
That's not your job. But like, can you think of anything cozy that you know? I just like Friends, right? Like, so Friends TV show. What's that about? Nothing.
Yeah,
It's lovely. It's quite funny.
yeah. 6 friends. They could fall in love, but 2 of them shouldn't.
Will they? Won't they? No. Don't.
They
Just
shouldn't.
Don't.
They could, but it's not that kind of show.
But like, okay, so Gilmore Girls is a good example, which does have a tagline that's something like "Life short, talk fast."
Yeah.
Which is great, and like, because it's the hook isn't anything that happens. The hook is the like emotional connection.
Yeah.
And to an extent, and like, one thing we're not talking about is like what we're using these hooks for. And I think to an extent it doesn't really matter for me what we're using hooks for. It's for me, because I don't think necessarily like I'm going to be using them in ads or in social media. What I'm really trying to get the sense of hooks about is like understanding something about sales and advertising and marketing, and like if I can understand more about hooks, like it will feed into other things, but it's more just like the concept of how you make people want to read something that isn't intrinsically gripping.
Yeah. This isn't in any way really connected to that, but it kind of is, just in that it's a good way to look at hooks, because hooks, obviously we're talking about them in terms of writing, but if you're making ads and like doing covers and stuff, the visual hooks are just as important. And I was watching, we got like caught, me and Ghost Boyfriend got caught watching like we should be watching stuff. No, we got caught in a loop watching videos from this account on YouTube, and it was so strange that we had to keep watching because we didn't know if it was AI or not. And I think like it just made me think that the curiosity really got us hooked onto watching more videos to see if we could figure out what was going on. And the video was like, it's a girl, like a child singing. She's like a pop star, a little child pop star person. And her videos are it sounds like I'm watching really random stuff, and we do. She's singing.
Yeah, it sounds like it is because it is.
Yeah, like she's singing on one side of the screen, like she's stood in a park with a microphone. And it seems like it's AI because it just seems weird, like weirdly static. Next to her, a young boy is dancing for the entirety of the song. No breaks, no anything. He's just going like an Energizer bunny. And then there's a cat in
The
front
worst
of
thing is,
them.
I think I've actually seen this.
You probably have seen this, right? So he's just like going like freestyling, and then there's a cat at the front of the video. So you sit watching it because you feel like you can't look away. It's almost car crashy, but it's not. It's more like a visual puzzle. Like you're trying to understand like
Yeah.
what it is and whether you're interested in it and like what universe it's coming from. And I feel
I
like
think I
that.
sent you.
God.
Yeah, so I think visual hooks are a really good one. I was gonna say, I think I sent you a link a while ago to a podcast. Obviously, I send a lot of links to podcasts. To a podcast that was, I think, from social media marketing, and it was a woman who's got a not very woman's name, so obviously can't remember that either. I'll put a link in the show notes. Basically, there was a woman talking, and she was absolutely fascinating because she had just really focused and mastered like video content.
Yes.
And her name is something like Adeline. I've got a terrible name for memory for names, even when they make more sense than this one. I'm just looking through my things I've sent you to try and figure it out, but I can't find what it is. Oh, Adley. Okay, so her name is Adley Kinsman, and it's on a podcast called Social Media Marketing, and she's absolutely fascinating. Like, not just her videos, but like her as a person, she was so interesting and articulate about this topic. And also, I felt like it explained a whole like section of the internet that I've been really frustrated by for ages. And so she has spent years trying to figure out how to get people's attention online with video content.
Yeah.
And she was saying, if you've seen a video online the past 2 years that you couldn't figure out, you couldn't understand what the concept of it is, why you couldn't stop watching, why someone would make it, she's like, that was probably me. Trying to test different things to see how long I could hook someone in absolute nonsense. And the worst one for this is like 5-minute DIY crafts, which I don't think is necessarily one of hers. I think it is, just given what she said, because I hate it. And
I watch those, and it's
they
so
hate them
anger
so
inducing.
much.
And like I just want to scroll away, but I've got to see how far they're going to take this.
Yeah, and then they just keep taking it further and further, and it's not a thing. And you're like, why would anyone make this? And the comments are all people being frustrated, like, why would you make this? Who is doing this? This isn't 5 minutes. And I'm annoyed. And then you hate yourself for watching it and get something as well. Anyway, I'll put a link that episode, that podcasting, because it was absolutely fascinating. And she has got really good socials just to watch, and she both makes like great gripping hook, like visually hooky videos, and also she does a lot of explainers on it. So I'll just make myself a note to share that podcast, because I think she has definitely really helped me figure out things about visual hooks, and she's so articulate about it, but also annoying, right? Like, the videos are annoying and the videos she makes, and she knows she's being annoying, and I kind of admire that. I'm just like, it's interesting to see how you can do that on purpose, and I don't want to do that exact thing, but something that I can learn from that is useful.
Yes, I think it
And
ties
visual
in
hooks, like movement, right? Like even basic like movement on making a TikTok.
Yes, so there's like what people do is like tap things, or like they'll be opening stuff, stirring things. Sometimes you'll see people
their makeup.
or they'll be talking to a camera and there's something weird in the background. That's like the ones that I always think it's kind of less obvious that people don't really realize. It's like there's someone weird in the background, or just like a weird like ornament or something that is like a conversation, like we were talking about last week, like conversation pieces. Like it kind of ties in with Audacity, because she's doing those things and not caring that the outcome is negative, because everything that she's doing, like even the negative outcome, is like what she needs to do in order to figure something out. And I feel like maybe we need to be more audacious with our hooks. Maybe we're limiting ourselves because we think we can only write hooks that are within our genre, but maybe we could try writing hooks that are outside our genre, and just try to be a little bit more like brazen about it.
Yeah, or I think I don't necessarily want to write hooks that are outside my genre. I want to steal techniques from outside my genre and apply them to have the same, like, apply them to different emotional consequence.
Yeah.
It's like a perfume video, right? Like, perfume videos are insane.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, even car videos, like car videos, they can't show you anything meaningful about the car, because what do you care about with the car? Like, all it does is it turns on and it goes and it stops. There's nothing else to a car. It's just a go and stop machine. And in a video, and like the minutiae of it is like how does it handle, like what's the suspension like, and how's the power steering, like those are things you care about from driving it. But like the actual like advertising, all it can do is give you like an emotional resonance for a car. The same for perfume. And I'm kind of thinking about how those capture something about emotional resonance is really interesting. And I think what's interesting actually about both those videos types is they don't tend to have words in, unless they're about like something very
Oh,
specific, like
no.
for car adverts, like they often have like green messaging. They'll have a conversation, but often it's just like someone driving down a vast empty road, a woman leaping through flowery fields.
I
Like those are
think
conveying something.
I think that you are missing two of the best perfume adverts that have come out recently. Well, not even recently, in the past like 5 to 10 years. Is Charlize Theron for Dior. Gold is cold, diamonds are dead. Classic.
Those are meaningless. But
Exactly.
they're not. That's not a
Yes.
conversation.
No,
Yeah,
meaningless. And then Natalie Portman's "What would you What would you do for love?"
yeah, that is
they
interesting.
to me they much like a good jingle, a good perfume advert gets me. I don't know what it is like that, and it's almost a hook, but
But also that
it
perfume's
doesn't
got
make
nothing
sense.
to do with what would you do for love.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But the phrasing of it sticks in my head. Maybe I'm just like really easy to manipulate with adverts,
Susceptible.
and I mean I know that I am.
Yeah.
Give me a good jingle, I remember your brand forever. There's just that will never go away. But yeah, like just the right turn of phrase can get me. That's what I want to get good at. I want to get good at, because I know obviously as a writer, like I'm good at writing, but I don't spend time like really trying to do a good turn of phrase that's like hooky.
But it's not even objectively good, right? And what would you do for
No,
love?
yeah.
And that like pairing that with like the feeling we get already from Natalie Portman, it wouldn't work from anybody, right? It has to be from a celebrity we already have a certain feeling about. The way she's styled in that video, the background, you get 100% emotion from that. And then that conveys to, yes, I'm that sort of person. I want to feel that way. I want to spray something on me that's going to make me Natalie Portman falling in love in a rom-com. Which obviously it's not going to do, and it's irrelevant to what the actual smell is, right? That's what the crazy thing is about perfume adverts. It's like the smell is the only thing. There's not even two things to it. There's just the smell. At least with the car, there's like, is it solid and does it stop and go?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm constantly trying to. I think that's my issue. That's why I want to get to the hook. Because like I'm constantly trying to sell the content. And I really want to get away from that because the content is post-marketing.
Yeah.
The content is what gets someone to read book 2, and I want to get people to read book 1, and then the content sells book 2. That's it. That's itself.
Yeah.
I think that's why I want to figure out hooks, is because that's what I'm really missing about kind of promoting my books. Is I'm thinking of them too much as like, I don't know, what's something really tedious that you advertise, like a plumbing advert. Like a plumbing advert, you have to advertise like how the plumbing thing works, like a drain snake or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like, lots of like antibacterial things. They're about like the numbers of bacterial kill and how safe your family will be. But I need to advertise something vibey, because a book is only vibey. It's only a feeling when you get in it. And I need to, get better at selling it. And maybe it is about being more audacious with the hooks and figuring out like, can I take, even just testing. I really like your idea of testing different hooks and take the styles of different genres, but try and reflect a different emotional sense, and maybe see if Natalie Portman would be an advert for it.
Yeah. So you just need like Charlize Theron or Natalie Portman to be in an advert and deliver a line that makes no sense, has no context.
Sense, yeah.
And that's it. Yeah, that's it. I think it's hooking book 1. And I know we do always, I feel like we always have this conversation, but it's always the hardest thing to distill your own story down into its most primal elements, the most emotionally gripping part. I know what my story's about. I can write the blurb, I can write ad copy, but I can't, like, I have not yet grasped the essence. This is like perfume words all over the place. I have not yet grasped the essence of its true beauty.
So once you get down to like the real essence, right? Like the basis essence is the same for everyone across your genre. Like every book in that's what makes a genre, is it has the same essence. So how do you do like essence plus like essence? And this is what we talked about last week. Like I think hooks also has something to do with like personal narratives, because it's like this is the essence that like it's got the same. It's a bit like cake, right? I think more than perfume, because perfume can have tons of different things. But like say we're thinking about like a Victoria sponge, like a very basic cake. and say, and that's your genre, right? Your genre is Victoria Sponge. But like I love Victoria Sponge that's got like a sort of Earl Grey flavour to it, and I actually don't like too much cream. What I like is like a really, really light sponge, like but light but moist. And so, how is someone going to tell me? And imagine I've got a whole cabinet of Victoria sponges.
Mm-hmm.
How do I know which one to pick out? Because I know what I like in my mouth. I know that I like. Oh gosh, that sort of sponge that is like light but not dry.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost got a give to it. It's almost like you're biting into a sponge, like a dish sponge,
Mm-hmm.
but tasty.
Mm-hmm.
And then not packed with cream because I think that's cheapens it, but maybe like a thick layer of strawberries, but not strawberry jam again. I think you're trying to cover something. I'm mostly about the sponge, but I like a little maybe Earl Grey hint in the sponge. How is someone going to sell in a row of cakes? Like, how is someone going to tell me that sponge is the one? And I don't know.
Well, other than packaging, um, the brand, like the brand is a big deal, which is obviously ties into us and our narratives and trying to get ourselves seen as the particular people within our genre that's trustworthy and know what to expect. So I guess that is an element of it, is that it's easier to hook people if they already know like who's holding the fishing stick. What we calling that? Fishing rod.
Rod.
Oh, the English language escapes me all the time. So it's easier to be hooked when you know who's holding the rod, maybe.
Yeah. If I
So
befriended a fish, I think I could catch it more easily. I'm like, just hop on that hook. No worries. I won't eat you. I will eat
exactly,
you.
yeah, I'm gonna eat you, but yeah, come here, little fish. Just
Yeah.
just jump onto this plate. So I think that has something to do with it. I do think it's better to take that into account because, say, like if you went to look at Victoria sponge cakes, you're probably more likely to be drawn to a nice logo, like a nice box. And if Mary Berry is on the cover on the box, you might be like,
Yeah.
oh, a Mary
Straight away,
Berry
I'm in.
cake. Or even like if you saw Nigella Lawson had released a
Could be
cake.
weird. I'd read it carefully.
But yeah, yeah. but you'd be intrigued, would you not? So
Yeah,
you'd be like, oh, what would
I
Nigella
would.
put in that? So I
Breast
think
milk.
that, yeah, yeah. Like, and you have to eat it at midnight out of the box,
Yeah.
straight from the fridge. Don't put it on a plate.
Yeah, well dressed in a negligee.
Yeah.
I just, I think that I don't want my Victoria Sponge to be too sexy, maybe. I like it
Yeah.
wholesome.
So you want the Mary Berry cake? I'll go for the
Yes.
Nigella Lawson because it seems more fun. I think that has a lot to do with it. Is like how it's packaged, and then obviously like the words. If you're looking for an Earl Grey cake and it says it's Earl Grey sponge, that's the hook. That's
But then I might think, oh, is that going to be too Earl Greyish? I just wanted a hint of it in there. So it's like,
well, what if you said with a hint of Earl Grey? Like that's the hint is the tease. Oh, maybe we're teasing. Maybe a hook is more of a tease.
that is, I think a good way to think about it is like a lot of identical cakes together. And how would you differentiate them? Because yeah, things like if I knew I wanted a hint of Earl Grey but not a lot of Earl Grey, you could put that in the language. But also, I'd want to see that it's not too dark. It's not just like someone's poured a bunch of tea flakes in there. So I want to have something like a look. And some of it is like the packaging just of the cake, right? The way it's presented. So I'd want to be able to see that it's not like dusted in loads of icing sugar. Like that's a sign again of like fussiness. Not for me. For someone, but it's not for me. Yeah. So how do I think one thing I really keep going back to as well is I'm naturally leaning towards trying to figure out what other people want and make my cake like that, rather than saying, this is my cake. How am I going to tell people what this cake is? Because some people will love this cake. We were talking about this before we started, and they're like, I have just released book 3 in a series, and the reviews for it are just like the best reviews I've ever had. Like really, really, really positive in a way that I'm like 100% what I wanted. And it's people being like, every book is better, it's getting better book on book. I've been waiting for this and it's exactly what I wanted. And that's what I want for book 3 reviews, right? For book 1 reviews, you're going to get a bigger mix. But by the time someone gets to book 3, I've weeded out people that don't like the books. And these people are like 100% the right people. So it's like, how could I convey that my book 1 is exactly something that's going to find those people quicker and more targeted, rather than saying, this book is for everyone. If you like cozy mysteries, you'll like this. You won't a lot of people will not like it because my books are quite short. They're a bit more pacey than an often cozy mystery is, and the writing style is not for everyone. So I think I'm often tending towards being as inoffensive in general, like it's for everyone. It's a Victoria Sponge, but like you can't sell Victoria Sponge unless you're Mary Berry. You can't sell Victoria Sponge by just saying it's Victoria Sponge. You
Mm-hmm.
need to say it's hint of Earl Grey, you know, bergamot in the cream, light airy sponge. You need to get specific on it. I'm
Yeah,
hungry now.
I
I
know.
would
I
buy
would
that.
love a slice of Victoria sponge. Oh my
It's so
god.
good. It's such a good cake. Underrated, I think.
Very underrated, yeah. It's a personal favourite. I love Victoria Sponge, or Vicky Sponge as we
I'm
call it
also
in my
not sure if it's
house.
international. If it's just English, I'm so sorry, everybody.
Yeah, if everyone probably has this cake, so I'll just describe it for you. It's a light, airy vanilla sponge. You could put Earl Grey in if you wanted. I personally like a strawberry jam. I know
No,
I'm a heathen. I love a
for
strawberry
children.
jam, and I love fresh whipped cream. Not sweetened cream. I just want like that
No.
kind of like a very, very heavy, very like creamy, no sugar cream in it to cut through the jam.
Hmm.
But like you say, like everybody in the UK, I think, has a very specific Victoria
Mm.
Sponge that they like. We all love Victoria Sponge. I've never heard anyone say they don't like it, but everyone has their own specific thing that they
Mm.
like about it.
Yeah, and they
What
like
is
it a
that?
lot. It's their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some people buy that
But
even like a really dense dry one, but because
but
they can
oh
dip it in
yeah.
tea or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? People are
But
crazy.
that's like the beauty of we're all selling books, and the genres, there's so many books in each genre, and everybody there are people out there who are willing to buy. You have to find the people that want to buy your bergamot
Mm.
cake and the people that want to buy
Mm.
my strawberry jam and very thick cream, like 90% cream.
Unpleasant.
So how, yeah, like that's the hook is it's like it's the cream.
Yeah, because that would really put me off. I'd be like, no, that's not for me. I'm glad I didn't
Hmm.
read that and leave a bad review.
Yeah, but I want that. I want the thickest cream you could possibly get on it.
Mm.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think I'm going to take over the next like few weeks. I'm going to
Hmm.
try maybe not setting up a separate account, but maybe interjecting hooks into like my usual
Hmm.
scheduling posts just to see how wild I can get with them, like how far can I take it, how tame, like
Yeah.
maybe I'll make like a list of tame to wild, and then like see like what kind of game I can make it, because I do love
I
to
mean, we talk a lot
gamify what I'm
about
doing.
Brianne Randall, who is really big on that. Like, she does a lot of
Hmm.
just big wild hooks and then see what the response is. I'm like, well, who's
Yes.
hurt by that? What's the damage? Nothing.
Yeah, yes, I do feel like she does a lot of market research that way to see
Mm.
what really pulls people in. And I've never, and it's silly because not that many people are listening to what I have to say online. So it's not
Mm.
like I'm going to spoil my chances. I'm not going to turn anyone away. But she has such a big audience that she could turn way more people away. Like the chances of like the percentage of people who would unfollow, obviously it's a bigger percentage than me because no one sees my posts. A very limited amount of people. Whereas thousands of people see her posts and she's
Well, that's
still
only the
throwing it
benefit of
out
TikTok as
there.
well. It's like it often doesn't go to your followers; it goes to new people. So
Mm-hmm.
all you're doing is you're getting to market test ideas with like a randomly assorted group of strangers.
Yeah.
That's the best thing with TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
I might do
that's
that.
yeah.
I might see if I can figure out cozy mysteries. So like, I've got several accounts just for, like trying different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I might just try. Can I figure out like how to make a hook? Which
Mm-hmm.
I've really just been like struggling with. And I've talked to people about this, and I think like people have got some ideas for hooks, but whatever they've said is not. I've not had the epiphany. I'm sure they're right, but it's just not hitting me in the right way. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get to epiphany stage with this because I'm just missing something for myself.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because you need to figure some
and
things
yeah.
you just have to figure out for yourself. Like somebody can tell you, this is what a hook is. This is how hooks can work for you. And you could like do a
Mm.
workbook and listen to a podcast and watch a YouTube tutorial about like the best way to find hooks. But for me personally, I really have to learn something myself through doing. That's the best way that I can learn. It's like I have to absorb it into my entire being and just know intrinsically in myself that I have the ability to do it. So
This is so the like peak difference between you and me. And like I was thinking literally always like, oh, you know what I'd have to do is like read some academic articles on this.
No, I can't. No, that's not how I learn. I learn by doing. Somebody show me what to do.
I have researched on Google Scholar, I've tried to find something and I could not find it.
No, I have to do something that I can repeat multiple times, and then it's ingrained. Yeah, I'm like
which is
a
working
robot.
for your main TikTok account, right? Like you've got like thousands of views now on some posts, which is great. And I just don't have the patience for that. I think the issue I have with TikTok, it doesn't feel like it's reliable learning. Like you can do the exact same thing twice and get different results. I was like, well, that's not for me.
Yeah, that's what I found this week. Yeah,
yeah.
I had a post that got like over 4,000 views, and then I was like, well, like what part of that? Yeah, what part of that worked though? So I've like tried each part of it separately and have not been able to replicate it. Like I don't know. But I got there once, so I'll get there again. That's how I feel with hooks. It's like if I could just get one hook to work, and I can do it again. Like I like to repeat and repeat until it just becomes easier. And I'm sure that that's how it'll work for me.
Yeah. What I found fascinating was when I was trying to research like book taglines, was how variable they are. So I would strongly recommend everyone just like Google book taglines. Pinterest has got some really good collections of them. Some of them really good. Some of them absolutely awful. And you think, is it because the book is bad? Like, and by awful, I mean just incredibly generic. Like things like One Woman on an Island, 7 Nights to Find a Difference. You're like, what? And it's like, is it dramatic? Is it lovely? Who knows? And some are just like, you think you know someone, think again. It's like, kind of, I see where you're going, but like, it's not strong enough.
No.
And it's like, is the book bad in that situation, or is the marketing person bad? And I say this is someone who's done marketing professionally for books before, and they were terrible books. They were academic science books, which are not terrible, but they're not easy to sell. So I'm not blaming the marketing people here. There was probably some marketing intern in there in their first week, and they were like told, make the tagline for this book. Okay. So I'm just saying it is very interesting to look and see what's a good tagline and what's not. And for like a book, like a thrillery book, psychological thriller, I will buy it based on the tagline 100%. And I've been burned that way, and yet I'll still fall for it because sometimes they are so good. They're like, I feel literally like a fish that has swallowed a hook, and I cannot resist.
Yeah.
But I don't think. Well, maybe I need different words than hook for like cozy mysteries, because it does feel like you're literally on a hook for like a psychological thriller. But what is it for other genres?
Yeah,
I'm going to keep pondering. Hopefully, our pondering has helped others.
Yeah, like I feel like this is really like lit a fire under me. It feels like this is like personal challenge week, even though it's not our personal challenge week. I'm going to take this as personal challenge.
Every week is personal challenge week.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And we encourage you, listeners, to do personal challenges too.
Yes. And I'm going to say for this week's question in the Discord, so everyone who is listening, do join our Discord. The link is in the show notes. It's Pen to Paycheck. Maybe your Pen to Paycheck authors, I've forgotten again. But the link is in the show notes. Join the Discord, and every week we have a question. And normally it's something quite specific. But this week I just want to ask something quite general about like what do you understand about hooks? Like, what do you think you know about hooks? Or what are some? Because I don't want to get specific as in what's a good example of a hook. Maybe like, what do you understand about hooks in your genre? And just leave it as open as that, because I think it's such a big topic, and the word hooks, like we said at the beginning, can be kind of taken any way. So let me just make a quick note of that, and hopefully you'll get some great answers. Hooks in your genre. Okay. So, oh gosh, my writing's so terrible. I'm so sorry to myself, future self, having to read that. So I think we're at the end for today. Next week we're talking about social media. So another great big topic, but we're kind of narrowing it down to really focusing on organic and paid use, because at the moment Sam is doing lots of really good organic stuff, and I'm doing, we kind of want an episode to talk about both those two things together.
Yes.
And see if we could find some, useful crossover in which to talk about that. So do you have any thoughts already on that?
Yes and no. No, yeah, I definitely, and I'm obviously very open about this. talk about it a lot, that my whole game is based in social media. I love trying to figure it out, and I love the idea of figuring out organic reach and trying to figure out organic sales, because I'm such a skinflint with money that I don't want to pay. But I know, like, I will, and I'm not adverse to doing ads and things, but my first love is really trying to, like, trick the algorithm into sending me readers that will convert into sales and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about what I'm doing. I'm looking forward to hearing all about your ads, because I know that you are way more involved in ads and you're so analytical about it, that I'm looking forward to hearing your breakdown of everything that you've been doing.
I've even this week gone further. We had our Easter meal at my family at the weekend, and for part of it was just me and my dad sat away from everyone else on our laptops, looking at the ads platform and Photoshop and how to make images for ads as well. So I feel like it's useful this year. We're both trying to think about strategy, and kind of what strategy plays into your strength, and building up the tactics that work for you into a strategy. And I do think for me, ads, if I can get them to really work consistently, is ideal for me, because I love data and I love replicable results. It's very late. Sorry,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
So yes, I love trying to get just measurable information and respond to that. I have been doing some organic things as well. We had our 6-day challenge, which I'm still adhering to, of doing 3 posts a day on social objects, which again feels like to me a sort of something that is meaningful and measurable. So I quite like having that target that has felt doable. So yeah, so we'll catch up on that, and we'll kind of talk about quite a range of things, and hopefully will be useful to listen to, as today has been, I'm sure. If you have got use out of it, please do go into our show notes, grab the link to the Ko-fi, however I'm going to pronounce it, but the coffee. You can drop us a few pounds in there and buy us a coffee to enable us to talk even more, maybe even faster. Life short, talk fast, as the Gilmore
Yep.
Girls tagline famously goes. We will talk even faster about more interesting things if you buy us more coffee and cake. There's an option to buy us cake in there. Not literally, metaphorically. The money just goes to hosting, really. But we will also buy coffee and cake together. But yes, if you'd like to support us, go in the show notes, grab the coffee link and pop some money in there. Thank you so much for any support. Also join the Discord, though, absolutely free. Join in, have a chat, ask some stupid questions, as we love to do in there. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.